This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of A's Cast Live, the Athletics in Pittsburgh. As you can see, Cody behind him, beautiful PNC Park. As the Pirates, they are struggling. They've lost 4 straight and 11 of their last 12. They've been outscored 54-28 during that 12-game stretch. Luis Severino is on the mound. The Athletics coming off a huge 2-out-of-3 victory over the Boston Red Sox. A big deal for the Wilson family. Jacob, of course, grew up going to PNC Park. His dad, Jack, longtime shortstop, all-star for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So there's a lot of storylines here. Brent Rooker, 30 home runs, 3 straight years now, is very, very special. Today, we're going to talk about goals. Goals that are attainable not only this weekend, but for the rest of the season. You always got to be trying to progress. You got to be trying to get better. You want to have some good feelings. Now, a lot of you know, I've been telling you, especially on A's Talk, where we take your phone calls after the game, that what you do now doesn't always translate. It sounds good, and we sell it, and that's what our job is, but it doesn't translate, because what happens is, sometimes it does. What happens is, like everything in life, you go away, there's an off season, there's Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, the holidays, a lot happens. And then you start a new year. But we like to think what you do now will help translate to something better next year, or i.e. 6-7 months from now. Is there any guarantees? No, but you rather end on a positive than end on a negative, like the Pirates are right now. Commander Cody, you are back home. How is it?
Got in yesterday. It's been great. It's actually been hotter here than it has been in Boston, which it's kind of normal for this time of the year. Snow will be coming soon, so that's kind of what it is. But it's been great to see some of my friends. I saw 2 of my best friends last night. My one friend is actually one of the team sports medicine guys for the Pirates, but he's actually not working the game tonight. He's working high school football instead. I guess it's paying him more, so he won't be here. But it's been a good time to be here and be back. I'm going to dinner with my mom and dad tomorrow, which I haven't seen them in over a year. So I'm glad I was able to come on this trip and do everything from here at PNC Park, a ballpark I grew up going to, along with Three River Stadium.
That's awesome. How is the family?
They sound good. I mean, we'll check back tomorrow night after I go to dinner. I'll let you know how dysfunctional it was, but it'll be it's gonna be a good time to see my mom and dad, and my younger sister is in Florida, so I won't get a chance to see her. But it'll be nice to see my mom and dad, and my wife is obviously here, so it'll be a good time to see everyone tomorrow.
You want the I've been around for a long time story of the day?
Absolutely.
So I get in here to NBC. We're at the NBC studios in San Francisco. And a young lady goes, "Mr. Townsend, we've got to take a selfie together." I've never met this young lady. "I'm in your daughter's sorority." Oh. So I took a selfie to send off to my daughters. That's when you know you've been around a while, is that now the kids that are going to school with your kids are now working here at NBC Sports.
Time go. Life moves. What's the quote from? It's one of my favorite quotes ever from Ferris Bueller. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't look around every once in a while, you might miss it. It's kind of what's going on now with your kids, and now seeing their sorority mates now working at NBC Sports, which is pretty crazy.
Which started when I first started was Fox Sports. Then was Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area and Comcast Sportsnet California. Well, it was really Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. Then came Comcast Sportsnet California. And originally it was just in California. And for a lot of the Sacramento people, I used to do a 49ers show years ago when it was just California. And then they brought it down here, Comcast Sportsnet California. And now it's NBC Sports Bay Area, California. Wow, that was a moment that happened about 10 minutes ago, and it just kind of shocked me. Like, what? So pretty interesting. Also pretty interesting. Driving up here today, all of a sudden my phone buzzes, and guess what was on Instagram? And it's happening everywhere in the NFL, but I thought it was just so interesting. And, you know, obviously a lot of us, everybody's on social media, but you think of Instagram. All of a sudden I got this notification. It's a Friday, right?
Correct.
Usually the head coaches will talk on Wednesday with the head coach will talk on Wednesday. The head coach will talk with the other team's media on Wednesday. And a star player, usually the quarterback, talks to the opposing media. And once you kind of hit Friday, Saturday, there's not a whole lot going on. Instagram buzzes. It's the Pete Carroll press conference in Las Vegas with the Raiders. And I was just like, and I know he's been doing it, and I know they all do it, but it really just hit me today. Like, all those years that we had to get to the facilities, whether it was in Alameda or in Santa Clara with the Niners, and you got to get all your equipment set up and make sure whether it was television or radio, and everybody, you know, oh my God, we got to be all set up. Now we just put a camera up right on the head coach, send out a notification, and go live on Instagram Live, and that's it. Unbelievable. If people knew, like, remember, head coaches always talk on Monday after that. So they talk after the game, but they always have their presser on Monday and then the big presser on Wednesday. If people knew all the television trucks, all the stuff, radio, everybody, all the media's there for these press conferences at the facilities and everything everybody has to go through to get it on live. And to now think you need one camera, Instagram Live. Here you go, everybody.
Times have changed, man. I mean,
wow.
Look, I mean, we could do that with Kotze when he just put a camera in front of him at the media in the press conference room and just let him talk. Yeah. Instead of having everyone go down to the dugout for games, just have them talk in the press conference room. Or there's a big press conference room downstairs here at PNC Park. Just have him talk in there, or somewhere in the clubhouse, in his office.
Yeah, you don't need to do all the. I mean, early on when I first started in the 96, 97, I used to help John Schrader down in Santa Clara with the 49ers. And when Steve Mariucci was talking, it was always such a major deal, right? And everything that we had to go through to make sure that it got to KMBR. And I'm thinking, man, all that is so archaic now. I mean, literally, you could put your phone up to Mark Kotze and do Instagram Live and have Mark Kotze streamed out talking to the beat writers every day. I
mean, a good example is like, look at us. I mean, we each have one camera set up, and you just I just hit go live on StreamYard or on Twitter or on YouTube. I mean, the world's totally different now, which makes it easier. And I think for that, like, now people don't have to worry about traveling into the facility. You can just do it from home and then ask questions. If you're on Zoom, just raise your hand to ask a question of the coach or manager, what you want to ask them about the upcoming game or the game that happened last night. I for one, like it. I think it makes it easier, but everyone's, there's probably people that still want to go into the facility and see the ins and outs, but I think it gives you the behind the scenes look of how things happen in the sport. And I think that's good to try to capture just the casual fan of how, like, coaches handle speaking to the media each day.
Well, just think about, like, after the game, Rooker hits a home run, Severino has a good outing. You always want to hear from the starting pitcher. Jacob Wilson coming back, all that kind of stuff. You could do those because, like, we'll show some of it on NBC, and you need a camera. If they just went up and hit Instagram, boop, end it, go to the next guy, Instagram, boop, you could see everything, like, immediately after the game on Instagram Live.
Yeah, I mean, I know like that it gets some players in trouble because it's happened in the NFL a lot where they'll be in the, players will be in the locker room after a game and they'll go live on TikTok or Instagram and they'll be celebrating in the clubhouse and things are said and like that. And, they become,
Guys are naked.
Becomes bulletin board fodder and, all that stuff going into it. But like, I like that stuff. I mean, you got to be careful with it, but I think that it shows things that people don't get a chance to see. And that's kind of the new age we're in where that's how media is going and how technology. I mean, I think today the new iPhone just came out. I think the iPhone 17. So like the way that technology is, advancing every single day, I think we're going to keep moving more and more towards that. Where who knows, maybe down the line we don't even have beat writers at the ballpark anymore. They're just asking questions over Zoom or on Instagram Live, and that's how we handle everything going forward.
It was as simple as putting a phone or whatever up, and Pete Carroll's live, boop, and there's the head coach, and everybody. I mean, it was like, wow, that's just so easy, and. Normally the hoopla that you had to do to get the head football coach of an NFL team or a college team was really dramatic. Now it's fairly simple. By the way, today, so we're continuing Hall of Fame week. Who are we doing today?
Tim Hudson will do here in about, let's see what time it is. About a couple minutes from now. I think it was like 8 minutes. And then we'll do Barry Zito to end the show, which is he's around 11 minutes. So you got Hudson and Zito.
Why don't we save them for for 2:00?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
We'll save them for 2:00. Yeah, it's been really cool. And today on NBC, Ace Cast on NBC, we're going to do Tony La Russa. And, this whole week from the Hall of Fame week on Saturday, Shooty was talking about, beyond the fire alarm thing, Shooty was talking about how everybody from the brunch and everything, how it was such a success. And a lot of people, Shooty reached out to a lot of people, and they all talk about how much they enjoyed their time. It's really been a fun week, just kind of going back and seeing, the greatness of the organization. But we don't talk enough about how important it is for our young guys to see that. Because let me tell you something. When Nick Kurtz looks over and there's Mark McGwire, I guarantee he's like, oh, my God, that's Mark McGwire. Right?
Yeah, no, totally.
When you see Jose Canseco, for the young pitchers to see Hudson Mulder, Zito, to see Dave Stewart around, obviously Raleigh Fingers may not generate with the young guys or Bert Campaneris like it should, but to be around true greatness. And when you look at Raleigh Fingers being a baseball Hall of Famer along with an A's Hall of Famer, and now Tony La Russa that we're going to play, Tony La Russa is truly one of the great leaders. Just not baseball managers. He's one of the great leaders. Very progressive. Helped change baseball in a lot of ways. The thinking in baseball. And also how to deal with individuals. Management, one thing that you always see that we all can talk about in our lives is that people get promoted into leadership who really should not. And it happens everywhere. Because the number one thing in leadership is communication. You got to be able to communicate. Whatever your industry, whatever your business is, communication. And when you lead people, you've got to be a good communicator. And unfortunately, let's face it, most bosses aren't very good communicators. Most bosses they're just downright not good at it. Tony La Russa made it a point. So you can talk about World Series, been in a lot of World Series, a lot of great players. The way he started bullpens with, you're the 7th, 8th, 9th guy, and all the different things that Tony La Russa did with lineups. But the thing that made Tony La Russa great was that Tony La Russa took time every single day to talk to all 25 of his guys at some point. And they would tell you, Tony would just have a fungo and he'd mingle around and you wouldn't notice. And he'd be behind the cage. Next thing you know, he'd be in the outfield. He made it a point before game time. He made a personal connection with all 25 guys every day. That tells you something. because he wanted to make it a point to talk to every guy to let him know he cares about him. No matter what they talked about, how's the wife, how's the kids, how's this, how's that, what's going on, how you feeling? He made the personal connection every single day to let his guys know he cares. And that means something. To where Bob Melvin told, I don't know if Melvin ever told this story live. Bob Melvin came up with the Tigers right after the Tigers had won the World Series in '84. And I believe he came up in '85. Bob Melvin made a simple mistake catching. Sparky Anderson didn't talk to him for 2 weeks. And then finally they were in the outfield during BP. Sparky Anderson comes up to him, doesn't look him in the eye. He's looking straight ahead. They're standing side by side. And Sparky Anderson just says, doesn't look him in the eye, just says, "You know I'm mad at you, right?" 2 weeks. Now, Sparky Anderson's in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the great managers. Bob Melvin's a young player. This is how we treated young players. We punish them. We're going to punish them. Bob Melvin made a mistake. The manager didn't talk to him for 2 whole weeks and then wouldn't even look him in the eye. Tony La Russa, the exact opposite. He talked to you every day. That's why whenever we get Tony, you know it's something special because he's one of the great, I just don't want to say great managers. He's one of the great leaders in the history of sports. And in that interview, when he talks about whether it was Bill Parcells or Bill Belichick, or it was John Madden, it was Bill Walsh, Bobby Knight, like these great leaders, he was always surrounding himself, other sports, with the great other leaders, and was always learning. And he would learn and implement. So he never takes credit for what he did. He said, I learned from everybody. I learned what they did. I took it and put it into my arsenal. It's kind of like what I do. Like I've been around a lot of great talent in my career. And I've tried to take bits and pieces from the people that I've worked with. And I've never claimed it's my playbook, but I've tried to implement stuff that works. You want to take the good from people, and you want to make sure you don't do the bad that those people did. And then that's a smart thing to do, that Tony La Russa. So I'm glad that we are airing him today on NBC. I know we've already played it here, but I just, thinking about Tony today, truly one of the great leaders, and this week has been great. All right, let's get into some goals that I think this weekend, if the Athletics take 2 out of 3, to finish the season over 500, that is a big goal, because we haven't seen that since 2021. In 2021, the ball club went 43-38. Cody, I think it's a big deal for this team to finish this season, not 500 on the road, over 500 on the road.
Yeah, and if you look at the numbers for the team right now, they're one of the best road teams in baseball when it comes to wins right now. I mean, they're 39 overall, but you're playing a Pirates team that's scuffling, they can't score runs, and you have a chance to do something you haven't done in 4 years, and that's a notch going into next year with some confidence knowing you can win on the road and accomplish a big goal this year. If you win 2 out of 3 here, you're essentially at 40. That would be 41-40. So you're over 500 on the road, and you showed that you can win on the road going into next year. And a lot of the teams you already beat on the road, that shows you can beat them at home, because all these teams are going to come, like the Pirates are coming here the West Sac next year. I think that's a big goal to have, knowing, because we looked at that for a while, that they're one of the best road teams in baseball, and they have been all year. And it's good to see them get rewarded if they can win 2 out of 3 or sweep this series against the Pirates here at PNC Park.
Well, they started out well on the road.
Yeah.
Then it went down, and now they've crept back up. So winning on the road, good teams win on the road, right? Do your skills travel? Can you play on the road? Can you play on the East Coast? Can you play in the cold? Can you play in the hot? Can you play in elevation? Can you play in dry air? Do your skills translate to wherever the ball club goes? Not everybody's does. Some people play way better at home. Some people play way better in certain environments, right? Some, let's face it, we still have teams that have domes. And then you play way better inside than you do outside. Some guys play better at day. The splits will show you some guys are better at night. Some guys are better during the day. Can you be good in all environments? One of the things you got to be able to do is win on the road. You know why? This isn't football, and you can't have home field advantage the whole way through.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to win road playoff games.
I think
I think that is a big goal. I'll give you another big goal. And this one to me is huge. A winning second half for the first time since 2019. Last time we won in the second half, had an over 500 record, was 2019, 197 games that year. 46-24 in the second half. Couple more wins and you're going to have that goal. So that is not a small sample size to have an over 500 record in the second half for the first time since 2019. I think that's a big one too.
Yeah, I think 31-24 on the road, or at the second half right now. It's a 564 winning percentage. It's one of the better ones in baseball. The team has looked way better. I mean, the one thing with the team, besides the offense, and we've highlighted this so much, is how good the bullpen is. And I know Hogan Harris gave up a run yesterday, but he got in his fourth save of the year. They have two guys since August 1st that have an ERA under 1 in the bullpen. Newcomb and Hogan Harris are both under 1 since the beginning of August with their ERAs. So the bullpen has been a big strength for this team that wasn't something that we were talking about earlier when we were talking about how they had like a 9 ERA, almost a 9 ERA in those games where they lost 20-21, and they turned that around with a lot of these guys. And I think that's a big part of why this team is 7 games over 500 in the second half, and hopefully you can build more towards that because you're playing a bad Pirates team. I'm going to say they're bad. And then you're coming home and you're playing the Astros, who are fighting for the AL West, and then you're playing the Royals, who are a game under 500 as we speak entering today, but they're a team that might not be playing for anything next week. And you have a chance to get closer, the higher 70s in wins, which is something that we had those expectations for the team. And that if they can get there and, Johnny could get his hot take of saying they could win 78 games, that's still in play for Johnny. So that would be good to see for the team. But yeah, I think that's another good goal of finishing the second half with a winning record for sure.
That's really doable. 78 wins.
Yeah. It's only 6 more.
I mean, you could easily sweep this series. That puts you at 75.
Yeah.
You get one against the Astros, 76, and then Kansas City's probably going to be out of it now, those last 3 games, and that's kind of deflate. You battle all year long, and then in the end, you're out, and here you got the A's raring to go. That's something that's great to see is that these A's players haven't fallen flat on their face. They're win. This series, 2 series in this second half, on the road that have meant something. That 4-game sweep in Houston and this 2 out of 3. They're both huge. Absolutely huge. Winning 4 in Houston for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And then now taking 2 out of 3 from Boston, where Boston walked out of the ballpark in West Sacramento. They were strutting, feeling good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're in the playoffs. We're now going to be jockeying for wherever, still the East was in play. Yeah, now they're gripping it. Losing 2 out of 3, they're gripping it. They're nothing because Cleveland's won 7 in a row now.
Yeah, and they're playing really well. I mean, if their pitching is turned around, Jacquincy Noel, big Christmas, hit a bomb off Tarek Skubal. I mean, they look a lot better. Obviously they have Jose Ramirez, so they're a team that won the division last year, and they have a shot to still get in and knock the Red Sox out. And it's something that, and don't forget, the A's also swept Detroit in West Sacramento a few weeks ago too. So they've had some big series wins and sweeps this second half, along with that Houston one this second half. So it's a lot of excitement heading into the last homestand after this, and then we'll see how the team responds with the expectations. It's safe to say they win more than 75 games here. A lot of people are going to pick them to be a dark horse or just a team that wins the AL West, kind of like teams are doing this year. But it's going to be even more expectations, I think, on the team. And it'll be interesting to see how they respond the first month or so of the season next year with more expectations on them.
How much time do we have?
About 2 minutes.
I'm trying to put in an interesting thought about Clayton Kershaw. Obviously, this man is going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. obviously he has had an unbelievable career. The only thing about this whole announcing this is it seems like he's been on a farewell tour for almost 5 years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? I mean, you know how much we love Chris Mad Dog Russo and his show on MLB Network back in the day, and Alana Rizzo every day going, future Hall of Famer, future, I mean, ad nauseum. I mean, we've heard future Hall of Famer for this guy for so long. And I don't think people really realize that Clayton Kershaw has not had 30 starts in a season since 2015.
Yeah, it's been a long time. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago.
So if you look at his career, he had 30 starts at the age of 21. And then he went 32, 33, 33, 33, dropped to 27, and then 33 again at 27 years old at 2015. He's not had 30 starts in a season since he was 27 years old. He's now 37. Now one of the years is COVID, but I don't think he would have got 30 anyway.
No.
He hasn't done 30 starts in over 10 years.
It's been a while. I know he's been injured. He's been injured a lot, and they kind of limit him. And he's been decent enough this year. And I think he has some really good counting stats that we can get into after the break. Like he has, where he ranks just among everyone the last 20.
And all of a sudden, I'm here at NBC yesterday, and old man Verlander has thrown how many good starts?
He's looked good.
Verlander last 11 starts is one of the best pitchers in baseball. We're not even talking about that. We're celebrating a guy that's got 20 starts this year. And I get it, Clayton Kershaw's greatness, but it's like his peak of 21 to 27 is one of the greatest of all time. And then it's like the volume starts to really change.
Mm-hmm. And
we really don't talk. Everybody wants to focus on the postseason with him, whatever. I've noticed ever since he's 28 to now 37, the volume just changed dramatically. Yeah. It's almost like he's been on a farewell tour for years.
Yeah. Now I saw on ESPN, they're talking about players are now collecting, like opposing players are collecting souvenirs. They go up, now that he's going to be done. And tonight's his last start against the Giants. And
he's one of the most dominant pitchers in his prime. He's one of the most. It's almost Koufax-like.
Yes, and he's like 226 and 99 in his career, or something like. He doesn't even have 100 losses. He's been remarkable throughout his career, but the last 10 years he hasn't been durable.
He is won 222 games and only 96 losses.
96, yeah. So he's under 100 losses. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
It's incredible, but it's amazing. After 27, we haven't seen volume like you would normally see in a guy of a yesteryear guy. He's kind of like the most modern version, but Verlander's still going, right? So it's like
new arm for Verlander.
It's a trip how when you really look at the numbers, how he had after 27, the 30 start posting 30 every single year just absolutely stopped. All right, we'll continue to break this thing down. A's and the Pirates. We got two A's Hall of Famers. Who do we have? We got Hudson and who else?
And Barry Zito.
And Barry Zito, the Cy Young Award winner, all coming up on A's Talk.
A's outfielder Colby Thomas joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live and discussed the success he's had versus left-handed pitchers in 2025.
Honestly, I don't know. In the minor leagues, other than this year, I was a reverse split guy, so I hit righties better. And in college, I hit righties a lot better. But this year they had started putting me in there more to face lefties, and I've gotten more confident about it. I've started to see more, and I mean, these are the best left-handed pitchers in the world. So being able to face the best of the best, I mean, it only gets easier, I guess. Like when you face guys like Skubal and you face like the guy like we're facing today. I mean, what an opportunity!
This guy's
awesome.
Legit.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
When it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is a 7-time Triple Crown Award winner, Ford Motor Company's highest honor for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall. FolsomLakeFord.com.
That ball is out of here.
Red Sox pitching coach and 2009 American League Rookie of the Year Andrew Bailey joined Towny on A's Cast Live to reflect on winning the Rookie of the Year and what the award meant to him in his career.
Yeah, it's a special honor. I mean, like you said, it's something that no one can take away. Probably one of the best years of my life, to be honest with you. From a baseball standpoint, just every day, just focused, and just things just kind of went my way, so to say. And I was very focused on my routines and stayed very consistent. But for me, I mean, I think winning that award allowed me the opportunity to kind of continue to play when things weren't going great.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today.
Streaming from NBC Sports, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on A's Cast. Okay, sorry. Apparently Johnny called Nate. That's why we were a little delayed on the station identification there. So I was able to find this real quick.
So Johnny's interrupting our show?
I guess so.
Do I call Johnny when he does play-by-play?
No. I don't know, maybe, but I don't think so.
Because play-by-play guys think whenever they have thoughts that everything is so more important than everybody else.
I'll bring it up to Johnny. I'm actually doing the third inning with Johnny and Chris Carey today. So I'll bring it up to them during that inning. Like, well, what is that? Now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to come over and take over this whole. Let
me know, and I'll start calling their phones and be like, hey, why aren't you guys not answering?
Real quick, I pulled this up while we were, because I had it on a different sheet, but these are Clayton Kershaw numbers. He's the 20th pitcher all time to reach 3,000 strikeouts. Only one of 11 pitchers to win the Cy Young Award at least 3 times. Only pitcher to lead Major League Baseball in ERA in 4 straight seasons. Second lowest career ERA in the live ball era among pitchers with 1,500 innings, trailing only Hoyt Wilhelm. He has a .698 career winning percentage, which is highest all time among pitchers with at least 300 or more starts. 11-time All-Star, the 2014 National League MVP, and a 2-time World Series champion. Yes, his postseason numbers aren't great, but those are just his accolades in the regular season, which are pretty remarkable.
It's the win-losses are not. I mean, postseason, it's the fact that he has over a 4 ERA. Like Maddox.
4.49.
Maddox, yeah, 4.49. Maddox has a losing record in the postseason, but his ERA is like 3.29.
Yeah.
There is a dramatic difference. And by the way, what was the thing with Hoyt Wilhelm? Hoyt Wilhelm was a knuckleballer reliever.
Second lowest career ERA, 2.54 in the live ball era among pitchers with at least 1,500 innings pitched, trailing Hoyt Wilhelm, who had a 2.52 ERA.
I mean, he's great. I mean, Clayton Kershaw is it's more. Shooty Babbitt asked me the other day, and this is why I wanted to bring this up. I'm not taking any shots at Clayton Kershaw. This is just what we're going to have to start dealing with is guys that don't have a tremendous amount of starts, guys that don't have a tremendous amount of innings. And we're looking at greatness, and you're going, well, I mean, like, where does Clayton Kershaw rank on games started?
Yeah, I would say he's nowhere near the leaderboard.
Well, you're not the old guys. They started so many games, but in modern day history, right? Where is he going to be games started? Like I didn't even, and that's why it's just interesting. So games started he's at 449, and we can just go to a Justin Verlander, because you got to start looking at what guys did in against their contemporaries. 449. Let's see where Verlander is. Verlander for his career, for example, is 553.
Yeah, I just looked.
It's a lot.
Scherzer's at 472. I just looked up Scherzer while you're looking up Verlander. So
now Verlander's older, but Verlander's pitching till he's 42.
And he missed a whole year because of Tommy John.
Well, let me give you this too. So we said, just to give you an idea, and this is, as painful as it is to talk about Verlander for what he's done to us in our lives. At the age of 27 was the last year you got 30 starts from Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
So let's go to age 28 for Verlander. Verlander at the age of 28 gave you 34. At the age of 29, he gave you 33. At the age of 30, he gave you 34. At the age of 31, he gave you 32. Got hurt, then came back. At the age of 33, gave you 34. At the age of 34, gave you 33. Got hurt again, but then he came back. He 35 and 36 years old. He gave you 34 starts.
Yeah. I'm looking at Scherzer. Scherzer, when he was 28, 32, 29, 33, 20, 30, 33, 31, 34. Then he had 31 and 33. And then even when he was 36 years old, pitching for different teams, he's had 30 starts. So that's kind of those are the guys he'll always be compared to in this era, where will be Scherzer and Verlander.
That's my thing. It's like Clayton Kershaw, 30 start seasons after the age of 27. 0.
Yeah.
Justin Verlander, after the age of 27, had 8. And we're not counting a year where he had 28 or.
What,
and I know one of these
right now.
Verlander has 27 starts right now at the age of 42.
Yeah, I know he's close to 30 again, and he's 42. So,
I mean, you're talking about Clayton Kershaw's hanging it up at 37. At the age of 39, Verlander gave you 28 starts. Then the age of 23, he gave you 27. At 39 and 40 years old, he gave you 28 and 27 starts. So, and I know one of those years Kershaw had 29 starts. But I'm just saying, it's amazing his greatness, and then it changed. He still had tremendous numbers, but the volume changed, and we've just been on like this retire. When's he going to hang it up? We haven't seen that 30-plus starts, just dominance since he was 27 years old.
Yeah. So, well, we can transition into talking about dominance for the A's, because we have to play these 2 interviews before we get out.
All right, who we going? We going Huddy first?
We'll go Huddy first. Yeah.
It's an honor. It's an honor to interview these guys. Here is the great Tim Hudson.
Well, we're here with Tim Hudson, new A's Hall of Famer at the early brunch. How does that sound? A's Hall of Famer.
Wow, it's an honor. It's this is where it all started for me and my career, and just having that label behind your name is really exciting. I know what this organization, the history behind this organization, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Well, you're going to get a lot of that history today. I think this will be a lot of fun, because it's going to happen here in just a little bit when Raleigh Fingers and Mark McGuire and everybody starts showing up. To join that kind of fraternity, some of the greatest names in the history of baseball, has to be truly special.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming a little bit. I wasn't nervous till you just said that. So
Dave Stewart, Tony La Russa.
Yeah, but it's I'm thrilled to be a part of it. I'm really very excited to be inducted with Zito and Mulder. Those two. It seems like we, our career started around the same time, and you couldn't really mention one of our names without mentioning the other two. So I'm honored to be with those guys, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it really is special that all three of you are going in because you're so close. You know, when we found out and we had you guys all on A's Cast, you know, Mark Mulder said your wife Kim, it's like a sister to him. It's like people need to realize that you guys grew up together more than just baseball players. The friendship, the brotherhood, it's something special to you guys.
It really is. You know, it is. You know, we were, you know, looking, you know, where we are now in our lives compared to where we were then. I mean, it's such a different chapter, but, you know, seeing how everything has unfolded over the years, it's really exciting. I'm proud of those guys, how they've, you know, how their lives have unfolded with their families and their kids. And, you know, I look at my family and how proud I am of how, you know, everything's unfolded for us. So, but, you know, it was a very, you know, big part of our lives together early in our careers. And I know that I wouldn't have had near the career that I had if I wasn't on the same team as those two guys early in my career, that's for sure.
You know, it's one thing when you're going out there and you're trying to get outs and trying to win ball games, but also you guys are pushing each other for greatness.
Yeah. You know, I mean, those guys, you know, I feel like we set the bar pretty high with our pitching staff, and you know, going out there and seeing those guys do what they would do every fifth day, and you know, a lot of times you were just trying not to be the worst out of the three of us, you know, and if you wasn't the worst out of the three of us, then you were doing pretty good, I think.
When did you know when they came up? Because you were up before them. You made that debut against San Diego. You showed everybody you could hit a little bit and you could pitch. But when they came, when did you know we really got something here with these two guys?
Yeah. Well, I knew with Mulder because we were in AAA together. So I would watch him pitch up there, and I was like, man, this kid's pretty special, you know, even though he was a little bit younger than I was. And so I knew firsthand, you know, what kind of talent he had. You know, I didn't really know Zito until he had gotten drafted and came to make his debut. I'd never seen him pitch. And, you know, I remember when he came up, I won't ever forget, there was an outing against Anaheim that he came in and pitched. It may have, I don't know if it was his debut or what, but he was just making everybody swing and miss at that curveball and making some of the best hitters in the game just look foolish, you know, taking it and just, he had something really different that a lot of pitchers didn't have, and that was fun to see unfold.
So for you in your career, you think you're also in the Braves Hall of Fame. You've won the World Series. You've been to multiple All-Star games. Is this kind of full circle right here, and the whole family, and now your kids are grown, they, you know, get to see Dad go into this Hall of Fame?
It really is. You know, it's you know, when you start getting, you know, having ceremonies like this, it means you were, you know, one, you had a pretty good career, but two, you've gotten older. You got a little long in the tooth, and you know what, it's just it's exciting just to see the excitement around the organization, and you know, I'm just very grateful and happy that, you know, the A's fans and the A's organizations, you know, embrace us and really are making this a pretty special moment for us.
Do you have one memory or a couple memories that are your favorite that you think about your time playing for the A's?
Well, you know, I think in 2000, one that always sticks out to me is the first time we clinched a playoff berth in 2000 when we beat Texas at the end of the year to make it to win the wild card to go to the playoffs. And because, you know, the years leading up to that, it was pretty slim when it comes to playoffs. And, you know, I feel like that was the start of something that was pretty special for our guys. And we knew we had some young guys coming up in the minor leagues that was going to help us out along the way. And we were excited about the young nucleus that we had with our team. And, you know, that was the start of something really special. I wish we could have won a little more during the playoffs, but there was pretty good ball clubs back in those early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, people need to remember when you talk about the teams you were going against, these are some of, I mean, you played in an era where these were super teams, super players. You had, I mean, multiple MVPs when you start thinking about Giambi and Tejada. You guys' team was so strong. So we're talking about an era of you bringing in these teams in the American League. There were powerhouses.
It was a pretty strong moment in baseball for teams. The Yankees were perennials. The Red Sox, you know, Minnesota was always very good at that time. You know, it was just one of those things where, and we were a really good ball club as well. Sometimes I think, you know, I don't know if we knew how good we were because we were so young, but you know, we were going against these teams head to head. You know, they had, you know, payrolls that was probably double or triple of what ours was, and but we were going out there and giving them all that they could want. And probably should have beat some of them a little more than we did, but it's just not how the cards unfolded for us.
Yeah, a clubhouse that probably felt like you were back at Auburn at sometimes.
It was we always joked around like it was a fraternity. I mean, it was kind of like a frat house type atmosphere. We were all young. We were all really excited to have our career started around the same time, and throw in some winning in there, and winning some games, and winning some, divisions and wild cards, and it makes for an exciting time for all of our lives, and I'm happy to have been a part of it.
Let's end on this, because this is something that's always been said. As great as everybody was on those teams, they always said if there was one game they wanted one guy to pitch, it was you. What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, it's, that's great. It's an honor to hear that people would have that much confidence in me going out there. But I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I feel like, any of our guys that we threw out there, we were going to have a good chance to win. But that does make me feel good that they believed in me like that. And, but it's also would be nice to have that curveball that Zito was throwing in there, or that sinker and split that Mortar was throwing from the left side. So I think any way you looked at it, we was going to have a pretty good chance to win.
Well, this is going to be a huge day for you. Congratulations. It's a great honor. Have the whole family here. The kids are grown now. Yeah. They're going to truly appreciate it. And they know how great Dad was.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day. I'm excited, and I know I'm happy for them to be able to experience this with me.
Well, enjoy it. It's a great honor. Tim Hudson right here on A's Cast.
Well, from one A's Hall of Famer to another, new A's Hall of Famer Barry Zito sat down with Towny at the A's Hall of Fame brunch last weekend in West Sacramento. Here's their interview. That'll do it for A's Cast Live. We'll be back on Tuesday at the ballpark in West Sacramento for the last homestand of 2025. We'll see everyone there. So here's new A's Hall of Famer Barry Zito.
Well, it's an honor to have new A's Hall of Famer Barry Zito with us. How does that sound? A's Hall of Famer.
Sounds really good. Yeah, that's a really exciting honor.
I think about this organization. I think about for you going in with basically your brothers, the big three. We've talked to Mark Mulder. We've talked to Tim Hudson. I know what it means to them. Just what does this moment mean for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that's the memories of this team, of the Coliseum, all those things have just been branded on my heart. And this just kind of seems like the final piece to really just seal it in. And it just feels like there's a little bit of a legacy there, I guess, and it'll always live on for me, but maybe for other people too, to be like, who are those guys? Or like, hey mom, hey dad, like, who are those guys? And then somebody like, oh, back in the day, there was these three pitchers. That's pretty cool.
Well, and I think about for you and your career, because you had the great career, you retired, then you get into music, right? You become a musician, singer-songwriter, and then now we're bringing you back to baseball again. It's like we're bringing you back.
It is. That's true, yeah. And I got pretty separated from the game. I think all of us have a tough time when you leave the game. It's like, now what? Who am I? There's an identity piece that you have to deal with. So, for better or for worse, I took about a week off after retiring and then just went into songwriting full time. But I think all these years now I've been able to process it fully, and I just cherish these opportunities to come back and, be back in a baseball environment, talk baseball with people. To be honest, sometimes I forget that I know a lot about baseball and that I know a lot about things until I go out on the field, helping my son's team or something like that. I'm like, oh, wait, I actually know, what to do on a base running situation, even though I was never a base runner, but that stuff is just in our DNA, right? And so it's nice to reconnect with that side.
It's like you got to remind yourself, hey, I won a World Series. I won a Cy Young Award. I was pretty damn good.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
You have to remind yourself. And I got 4 kids and we got a baby and, 4 boys. So life is crazy for us right now. So there's not a lot of time to sit back and remember and reminisce and kind of live in the past a little bit, right? I mean, if I was alone, I'd probably be watching more baseball, maybe watching some highlights of myself, whatever. But right now it's just, all right, what do we got to do today? But right now, here specifically at this event this weekend, I get to really just soak it all in.
And these moments to me are so special because now the kids can know, because they know Dad, he does music and he's successful at that, but now your kids can really see how good of a baseball player you were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got my 11-year-old, my 8-year-old. Sadly, my wife Amber can't be here. She's with my 2 youngest right now. But for them to kind of come out and see things, I had to give them a pep talk in the hotel. I was like, boys, this is not daddy at home. Like, we don't get out of the house much, so you can't just run up every time you need me. Like, you got to be respectful if I'm in a conversation, or if I'm, like, in an interview, you can't run, right? Yeah. So I'm kind of taking them through the whole, like, let's be professional. This is daddy at work.
Well, let's just think about the club you're joining. When you think, Raleigh Fingers is going to walk in here, one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Oh, yeah.
You got Reggie Jackson. You got Vida Blue. We're going to see Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire and Dave Stewart. Unfortunately, Dennis Eckersley can't be here today. But you just think you're joining a fraternity. You're joining a Hall of Fame that has some of the greatest players to have ever played in this game, and you're now a part of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's so surreal, because I grew up, and I won't tell them this because they're going to feel old, of course, but, and that's what you get told that as a major league player. Don't ever go up to your favorite player when you're playing them and say, dude, I used to watch you. They're like, don't say that. So I won't tell McGuire and Canseco that, but it's going to be really cool to be in the same room with them, in the same Hall of Fame with them. I mean, I grew up watching these guys. I used to idolize them. I grew up in San Diego, but I remember being such an A's fan in the 90s, like everyone across the country was.
I try and tell people that all the time because I grew up in San Diego too, but I was like, when I was in high school, and I was in high school in the late 80s, and my last year was 1990. That's 3 straight years in the World Series. How did you not like Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire and Ricky Henderson and Dennis Eckersley and Dave Stewart? How could you not?
Oh, yeah, no, I think it was infectious. Plus, the color scheme was so different, the white cleats. I mean, there were just so many reasons why it was different and cool.
Do you ever sit back and think about your curveball? You had one of the greatest curveballs. I mean, people still to this day talk about the Barry Zito curveball. You had a gift. It was your weapon.
It was definitely a gift, yeah. It was a gift. I mean, it was something I started throwing when I was 7, which is unusual. I just think sometimes people get picked to have certain gifts and certain things, from a divine place, in my opinion. I just think for whatever reason, when I cracked open that Tom Seaver Art of Pitching book, which is a book that I studied as a kid, there was a grip on there for a curveball, and I think I picked I did it the wrong way or something. It was a right hand, and I tried to be like, oh, so is it this with my left hand? And I ended up having a grip that I never saw anybody else have for a curveball. Very unusual, and it seemed like it worked, so, I don't know.
The ability and the confidence to throw it any time. You had one you got over for a strike, you got one for a strikeout. I mean, you had such command over that pitch.
Yeah, I think it was just about trust, honestly. You just got to get that feel and spin it. And, something I realized later in my career is, how fast can you get that pitch to rotate? I mean, that sounds obvious, but, after going to the ASMI clinic in Birmingham with Dr. Glenn Fleissig and Dr. Andrews, right? I went down there once and they painted a baseball half black and the other part was white. And they were measuring the rotation of the curveball, right? And so that was about halfway through my career, but I remember being like, oh, so it's like literally how fast can I get it to rotate? And it actually helped me, just kind of understand why it's doing what it's doing, so then I could maybe help teach some kids now,
You're doing spin rate before they were doing spin rate.
Yeah, there was no TrackMan back then, It was just like, oh, sneaky fast. What does that mean? I don't know. We just can't see it, but,
I wish you stay in the game, because I think of your journey and how you came up and then going over the Giants and it didn't go necessarily the way you wanted, and then you turned it around and a whole city fell in love with you. The highs and lows that you've experienced, especially all the highs, you can really help people. So have you thought about, your time in the game, how you could mentor people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's definitely been on my mind. How can I bring my pain and suffering, right? Specifically, how to deal with the low points. I mean, that's what I encounter with my kids. It's like if you can't be good at failing, like you got no shot, right, in anything in life. So, I think if I can help young pitchers or just pitchers in general, from a standpoint of how do we go out and get our brains beat in out there, and then come back 5 days later ready to go. I mean, that's a huge skill set that it took me many, many years, and I don't know if I mastered it, but like you said, I mean, people could be helped perhaps by that, Highs
and lows, but there's also that competitive drive. and that when you stopped playing baseball, you needed something. Like Mulder found golf.
Yeah.
You found music. What are the similarities between baseball and writing and singing and everything that you do?
Yeah, I think it's all about trusting yourself, honestly, and trusting, for me, you got to go out there and you got to trust God or trust the baseball gods or whatever you want to call it, but you can only do so much. And I think that where, any of us have gone wrong as major league players is that when we try to do too much, when we try to control things we can't control, that's when things fall apart quickly. So, whether it's performing on stage, whether it's, writing songs, whether it's being in a pressure situation as a producer with an artist and you've never worked with them and they're like waiting to hear that song come together and it better be like on point where they want it to be, it's just all about, hey, this is all I can do. Like I wish I could do this like someone else, but this is all I can do. And I think really accepting what we're capable of and then giving up the rest is everything.
I just can't wait to see, and I hope they put the camera on your face when they do Ballpark Kids at the ballpark. Because this is a ballpark, you were part of the original River Cats team that started in this ballpark.
Oh yeah. Bad memories of that first road trip. I think it was 7 or 8 weeks because the stadium wasn't ready yet. So I think we were on a 7 or 8 week road trip, but the road trip was so long that we visited cities twice on the road trip. We came through Salt Lake twice. I think we came through Vegas twice. We're like, second time, hey guys, you guys still on that road trip? Yeah, man, it's still on the road trip, bro. Like, it was insane. And then finally coming home to what was then Raley Field was just like, oh, here we are, boys. We made it,
Baseball is such a great game. Hey, I think about your career. I'll just remember those big games, and you were fearless, and you were the kind of guy, you could go into Yankee Stadium, and you could bring it against the very best. That's something I'm never going to forget.
Oh, one of the high points of my career, man. Yeah, who will ever forget that? That was great. Almedo signs first inning homer off Roger.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Hall of Famers are starting to walk in with their green jackets, so go enjoy this. It's a special moment. You're going to get your green jacket, and I know A's fans will always remember you as one of the greats. We appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Great to be here with you guys.
Barry Zito right here on A's Cast.
When it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is a 7-time Triple Crown Award winner, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall, folsomlakeford.com.
That ball is out of here.
This has been a presentation